From Googling the rules on how to play a card game to looking up the health regulations for lifting heavy objects on the job, the Internet has made it possible for everyone to conduct research. When we conduct research for personal reasons, we usually just report our findings verbally. However, for our academic or professional lives, we are more likely to write down or document our research. At college, for example, research can be used to write academic essays, and in the workplace, research can be used to write reports. In Part 2 of Module 3, we are going to practice analyzing our findings from the Internet sources we found last week. This week, I want you to work collaboratively with other students to analyze the research findings and draw conclusions. You should find that a groupthink like this broadens your viewpoint or expands your thinking. I have set up groups of students on Wikis. You will be invited to join the Wiki through your student email. The email contains instructions for joining the Wiki. If you've never used a Wiki before, then don't forget to watch the video, Wikis in Plain English, on Blackboard. Once you arrive at the Wiki, you will notice that there are 3 pages for you to post your work: reference page, pros and cons page, and conclusions page. The reference page. Post your 2 references from last week. Make sure they are in APA format. As a group, you need to ensure that all entries are in APA format and that they are listed alphabetically. Please note that you do not need to put a header at the top of the references, even though there is one on the example from Sites and Sources. The pros and cons page. Students analyze their findings by brainstorming the pros, advantages, and cons, disadvantages of social media. Students can list pros and cons from experience. However, there must be at least 2 entries for each student that have in-text citations that match a reference. For example, if there are 5 group members, then there must be at least 10 entries with in-text citations. The group needs to make sure there are no duplications. Don't forget you can add pros and cons from your own experience as well. We're including the effects of social media personally, which includes family and friends, academically, which includes Georgian College, or professional, which includes work or volunteer positions you've had in the past, or work that you plan to do once you graduate. The conclusions page. Once you have thought about the pros and cons, each group member draws at least 1 conclusion. Read over the list of tips to help you write your conclusions. These are the same tips that can be found on the tip sheet for drawing conclusions and making recommendations. In some cases, you may find that the conclusion is the same as a pro or con. That's okay. It's important to remember that this is a collaborative effort. In other words, you need to help each other so that you meet the expectations as a group. Next week, I'll ask you to reflect on the group process, but for now, try to work together and accomplish the goals. The rubric outlines the overall expectations for the Wiki, so you need to figure out how to work together.